So hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. It is time to talk about episode 7 of The Last of Us. I cannot believe we are so close to getting to the end of this season. It sucks. The fact that we're ending the season, not the show, because oh my god. Before I get started, I just want to remind you guys that next week's Last of Us reaction and next week's Mandalorian reaction is going to be delayed because I'm going to be in London this weekend. I'm going to London Comic Con. So excited. So yeah, I'm not going to get to watch next week's episode until probably Wednesday or Thursday. So it's going to be late, just let me know. I'm hoping to get my Mandalorian Season 3 Episode 1 reaction up tomorrow. And then the Episode 2 reaction next week will be late, because like I said, not in the country. Also just reminding you, the link to my Patreon is down below where I do a whole bunch of reactions. All of the extended reactions go up over there also. So like The Last of Us reactions are like half an hour long over there or more. And the Mandalorian reactions are probably going to be quite a bit longer over there. Link to my Twitter, my Instagram, and anywhere else you can want to find me is also in the description. Let's get talking! I'm already talking, I know. Let's get talking about the episode. I love this show so much. I know I keep saying it like it's embarrassing, but the amount of comments I get from people being like, oh my god, you know, I love it that much too, and I'm so glad I found someone else that loves it this much. And it's just a good old time. Again, the points are going to be all over the place, because it's kind of how my mind is too. Look at this shit. Look at the amount of shit we have to talk about today. First of all, oh my god. I say this every week, every time I'm talking about an episode, but the acting is just absolutely incredible. I say it all the time about Pedro because he is one of my favourite actors of all time. He's just incredible. He's such an expressive person that it's just fascinating to watch. It's just so... I love watching anything that he is a part of. So yeah, I've made my thoughts on that known. I thought Bella has been incredible so far portraying Ellie, but this episode in particular, whoa. One thing I really did like about this whole episode is it felt so youthful. It just felt innocent and light. You know what I'm saying? You really do get kind of swept up in that teenage, almost like a trip to the mall. It felt so different and it had such a different vibe to it. I think it's because it was told through their perspective. The bulk of the episode, with the exception of the start and the end, because, you know, those were the two suck-ass scenes that I had to see my guy lying on a mattress, stabbed in the side, all crying and shit, but we'll get to that in a minute. But the mall scene, or anything got to do with Ellie and Riley, it just felt light. It felt fun and cute, and I really, really loved it. I did play the DLC, but it was absolutely years ago, back in, I think it was 2014 when it came out. And I've said it before that, like, I don't know, I'm happy I haven't replayed the games because I can feel things coming back to me slightly, but not enough for me to remember, just enough for me to be like, oh god, this is gonna hurt. I remember being upset about this once. I'm about to get re-upset over it now in TV format. And it gets me every time. Actually, I think this is the only show I can think of that has made me cry 7 weeks in a row. I was going to say I'm not a big crier. I'm a very emotional person. But when it comes to TV, I don't cry all that much. This fucking show, every week, the waterworks are just down my face. I can't even help it. The scene between Ellie and Joel at the beginning and the end of the episode was probably one of my favourite interactions that we've had with them so far. Again, you have Ellie stepping up to the plate and proving herself again that she's capable and she's able to do these things. She's able to step in when Joel needs it. And her saving him, again, that's going to weigh on him. That's going to weigh on his whole, I feel old, I feel useless, I can't protect her insecurity that he has, that he opened up to Tommy about last episode. But him shoving her and forcefully trying to get her to leave him because in his head, he thinks like, I'm dead weight. I'm going to hold her down. I'm going to hold her back. What's going to happen if she stays here and tries to save me? And Joel, you know, with his daughter, with Tess, with Bill and Frank, with people that he's known and lost throughout the years, he has lost so much. And I can't imagine feeling that absolutely helpless. Like, my guy was lying on a mattress crying. He was crying, shivering underneath his jacket like it was a little comfort blanket. Just crying, just that one single tear. And again, I don't think it was like sadness or fear or anything like that. I think it was like that feeling of shame, of I've let her down again, like you said about failing her in his dreams. The end stole the whole episode for me, where she does finally come back, because we get the whole flashback with her and Riley. she decides, well, this is one person I can save. This is one thing I can do something about. Because Ellie's like Joel in that way. She's lost a lot of people. She's been through a lot of stuff. And she just decided, I'm not losing this motherfucker. She just got to work. That hand-holding scene where he accepts, all right, I'm gonna let someone help me. I'm gonna let her do her thing, even though I've told her to leave. Also, her just sewing that hole right up. She just got right in there. I keep saying it, but she is such a brave character. Getting to see her in FEDRA school was great. Getting to see her go through the motions, where she was in gym being bullied by that girl. I don't feel bad for that girl at all for getting, what was it, like 15 stitches or something? Ellie snapped, and like rightfully so. She was being picked on. Sometimes you can be pushed to let them know you can't intimidate me, you know. The scene with her teacher was interesting as well because, or like her supervisor, whoever that was in the office, because it's like he could see the potential in her. He could see what kind of a person she was and what characteristics and traits she had about her that would lead to a easy future and also a hell of a future. That was interesting, watching him try to steer her. When at this point, Riley was already gone, right? So Riley had already been told what kind of future she was going to have. Because Riley says later in the episode, oh, I got sewage detail. And he specifically brought that up to Ellie. He was like, if you're not careful, like, this is the life you're going to get. So it's just interesting to see that Riley's future had already been decided for her and Ellie's hadn't. Now, no, it is because Ellie is younger than Riley. I think Ellie's like 14 or 15 and Riley was just about to turn, was it 16 or 17? Which is when you get your first job, basically. But yeah, I liked that scene. I liked seeing her read the comic. I liked her asking to see the gun. She's been a little curious petal for a while about firearms, apparently. The Take On Me scene was fucking comical. Watching her run up and down that escalator like it was the most magical thing she has seen. Because at that point it was one of the most magical things she'd seen. And again, it's that childlike innocence of the things that we take for granted every day that to someone could be absolutely just like worth just standing and staring at. Next time I go to the shopping centre, or the mall as Americans call it, I'm going to take some extra special time on that escalator for Ellie. A scene I really liked as well is when they were talking about the looting and when everything fell. And Riley was talking about her mom was saying that when everything fell, people ran out to like bulk buy essentials and stuff. And Ellie makes the point of, oh, so people like robbed all the sneakers but not the soap. It was just funny because, yeah, you could imagine like riots and looting. What's it called? It's not looting. Is it looting? Is that the word I'm looking for? People just taking that opportunity to go and rob some fucking shoes and not the essentials. It's just, yeah, I thought that was an interesting take. One point I have written down here is, do you trust me? Riley says that to Ellie just before she leads her to the carousel. Oh, she says it to her more than once in this episode, I'm pretty sure. But specifically just before she leads her to the carousel. And Ellie sarcastically says, oh, with my life, apparently. But that echoes what Joel has said to her multiple times throughout the show now. Whenever shit gets heavy or something happens, he'll always say, like, look, do trust me. And she just nods and agrees. So Riley saying this echoed Joel's words, but this happened first, before Ellie ever met Joel. So every time that Joel says that to her, or she puts her trust in Joel, it must bring up memories of Ryan. It must bring up memories of bittersweet moments. Which brings to mind that really hurtful scene where Joel kind of snaps at Ellie because Ellie brought up Sarah. And Joel said, you know, you don't know anything about loss, or you know nothing of loss. And Ellie says, everybody that I love has either died or left me. And it's more bitter now that we have the visual context and we know we've seen this episode. I loved the photo booth. That was so gorgeous. Even though, yeah, it was really fucking sad because the pictures didn't even come out right. They came out half faded and you couldn't even see them. That's got to come into play in a later episode. We're going to see, I don't know, Ellie's going to have like that picture, the particular one that she said she liked. She's going to have it in her pocket or in her bag or somewhere. And it's going to cause the waterworks to come whoosh, right down again. I loved the little subtle moments of Riley saying, I waited to do this with you. She said this more than once throughout the episode, but you see it. So like when they were playing Mortal Kombat, or when she cracked open the coin machine and all the coins came falling out, and she admitted, like, yeah, it took me like an hour to crack this open yesterday. The fact that she'd planned it down to every detail, and she'd come in to run through this evening before Ellie got here to make sure it all ran okay. The carousel scene is probably the most visually and aesthetically pleasing that I've seen from a show in a long time. It was gorgeous in the way she was looking at her with them big love heart eyes, the longing stares. It was just so perfectly done. Everything about it. Going back to the arcade, because I forgot to throw in this point, but when we're talking about mirroring and stuff, this show seems to be big on doing that. when she was playing Mortal Kombat with Riley. Again, brought to all I can think of is brain. It brought to my brain the scene where Joel was like looking for the bag that he'd hid in, I think it was the pharmacy or the small shop, and Ellie ran straight over to the Mortal Kombat machine and was like, dude, and she talked about how this character would suck you in and then spit out your bones. Again, now we know she knew that because of Riley. And it's like, she must see her everywhere she goes, in everything that she does. Because Ellie, she's still quite young, and she's in her formative years, and the people that you meet and you form connections with, they have such a huge impact on you when you're that age. And the loss was still really new with her too. The more I think about it, the sadder it gets. One thing I loved about the arcade as well is how loud it was. Arcades are always really loud, really bright. There's always people bumping into you and stressing you the fuck out. But in this situation, it really was like they were the last two people on Earth. Nothing else mattered. They were in their little secret mall, running around the place, having fun, with the exception of that one motherfucker that slithers up and bites them near the end. With the exception of him. It really did just, I don't know, they just felt so alone. And it was, this show is great at like portraying vibes and moods and atmosphere of a scene that I can't really verbalize it because I'm not great with my words, but this episode in particular, it shone through small things, like from how they were skipping along the roof like Spider-Man at the start of the episode, the two of them, to when they did eventually find the bunker. Everything about it just felt so secluded and like it was just their world. We saw her get the joke book from Riley, which again, every time she brings that out with Joel to tell a joke or to say something funny, it must bring her to mind. Ellie must be, I don't know, she must be seeing her absolutely everywhere. And that's a real personal thing to share with Joel too. That joke book, if that was specifically given to her by someone she cared about so much, sharing that with Joel, that's quite a big thing in my opinion. I loved the scene where everything came crumbling down and Ellie found the bombs or the grenades in what was Riley's sleeping area. And you get this real childish innocence coming out of Riley where she says, I would never let them use them anywhere near you, don't worry about it. Like, she really thinks that she can make that happen. She really thinks that she can control them to not hurt Ellie or to keep Ellie safe from them and their attacks. We got some lines in this show. The scene where Riley's talking about how the Fireflies made her feel like she had a family, like she mattered. And then Ellie just goes, you mattered to me first. Such a simple line, but so weighted. Loved the scene with the masks, even though it creeped me out. Who knew, man? I never knew that I didn't particularly like clowns. That unnerved me. I don't know, was it a mixture of the music and the dancing with that goddamn mask? Didn't like it. Wasn't a fan. The kiss was adorable. Her agreeing to stay. Again, so much more bittersweet now that we know what happens instantly after it. They both get bit. One goddamn infected managed to nibble on two people in the one instance. That motherfucker must have either been really hungry or just really well adapted to life as infected. I just know if that was me, I'd be stumbling around tripping over my own legs. I wouldn't manage to bite anyone, even if I really wanted to. One thing I've noticed about Bella is Bella has this way of sound. Now, bear with me because this is a weird thing to explain. But you know the way some actors are like really good at dialogue, some actors are really good at like facial expression and composure. Bella's strength, I think, yes, is in facial expressions, but also in sound. When Ellie was on the floor and she was being attacked by the infected, the sounds that she let out of her was so heart-wrenching. I wanted to like punch my way through the screen and help her. It's so realistic that it like triggers your fight or flight reflexes. One thing I did wonder about this is again, maybe, they're too young and they weren't quite there mentally yet, but couldn't they have just cut off their infected parts? If that was me and I got jumped by someone and then I looked down at my hand and I saw, oh my god, I'm missing a big old bit of my fucking skin right here, I would pick up the nearest bit of shtick, fucking shard of glass, and I would just... That would be my first port to call. Maybe it doesn't work that way in this. I don't actually know. But seeing the two of them decide to sit and wait it out together, especially now, we know Ellie we know she's immune. So waiting it out together didn't exactly work out now, did it? Because one of them turned and one of them didn't. I thought Storm Reid, the actress who played Riley, was really good this episode. But Bella stole it from me, especially the scene where Ellie's going absolutely nuts on the glass countertops and she's smashing shit up with a baseball bat. There's something just so raw about that scene. This whole episode felt super personal and super like you were intruding on something nearly just by watching it. Like the scene where the two of them kissed. The scenes where Ellie's looking at Riley and you can see the love on her face. It just felt so personal. I really liked how this one was done. I really liked how this one was shot as well. And I didn't notice it. Thank you to Jack for pointing it out in the comments to me. When they were on the carousel, they played a slowed down version or the lullaby version of Just Like Heaven by The Cure. I'm ashamed I didn't pick up on that. My brother is obsessed with The Cure and would beat me over the head with a Robert Smith poster if he knew that I didn't pick up on that song. But the music this season has been absolutely fucking gorgeous. The soundtrack is out, by the way, if you guys are wondering. The soundtrack for the show is out. I may have listened to 1 or 2 songs on it, an embarrassingly unhealthy amount. Leave me alone, there's a week between episodes, alright? I need to amuse myself somehow. Going back to the very end of the episode then, where she decides... I don't think it was ever a question for her. She was never going to fucking leave him. When she was running up the stairs, there might have been a brief second where she was like, okay, I can go. But I don't think she ever really considered it. I think it was just before she opened the door to go into the rest of the house to try and find the supplies. It was a case of, if I fuck up, if I don't save him, this is my future. My future is having that one person in my head that's stored away just for me, that she feels like I failed. I failed them, they died. I don't want to see their face everywhere I go in the future. I don't want, like, I imagine she would have been thinking, I don't want to see Joel's face everywhere I turn and have all these inside jokes that I can't explain to anybody else. I can't let this happen again, basically, and I'm gonna fucking save him. So she had the flashbacks of Riley and all that shit happen while she was unlocking the door. I loved that there wasn't any words. There was no words. When she came back down, she just put her hand over his, and you see his hand kind of tighten a little bit, like in acknowledgement of, okay, we're doing this. And there's a very brief moment as well where she starts to sew it up, where he looks down and then just looks straight up. It's a very brief moment, but it says, I don't know, to me it was like, okay, 1, oh shit, this is happening, it's gonna hurt. And 2, uh-oh, this is gonna get infected and I'm gonna die. This kid doesn't know what she's doing, but she's trying. But I did love that there was no words exchanged at all, because they just weren't needed. And I love that about the relationship, about the two of them. Also, that scene, the hand-holding scene with Joel and Ellie coming right after the hand-holding scene between Riley and Ellie. Are you trying to fuck me up, Last of Us? Because you're doing it. Congratulations. I feel like Ellie and Riley's last moments as well kind of mirrored Bill and Frank's a little bit, because they decided to go out on their own terms, but they kind of didn't. They were pushed into having to go out on their own terms. With Bill and Frank, it was that he was sick, and then God, that episode really, the end of that episode just came back to my head, and I'm just getting really sad about it. We know their situation. One was dying, one wouldn't live without the other, and it was just... But ultimately, they chose. And with Riley and Ellie, they got bit, but they chose. You know, we could end it now, or we can, roam the place together. So it reminded me of that a little bit. And that we didn't get to see their final moments. I wonder, will we get to see Riley's fate? Because I know what happened there. But I wonder, will we get to actually see it? I hope we don't, because I don't think it's particularly needed. This show is really smart with how they use gore and how they do certain things. They don't really do visually gory shit for the shock factor, and I like that. I do. Like with Bill and Frank, the last we saw of them was they went into their bedroom and that was it. We didn't see the aftermath. With Ellie and Riley, we saw them choose to wait it out and turn, but we didn't actually see what happened. And I hope we don't. We probably will in some twisted flashback that's gonna hurt. I know next week is David's group, and I am so fucking excited to see it. I'm actually really pissed off that that's the 1 week I'm gonna have to wait to watch the episode. Out of all the episodes that have been, that's the 1 week I'm gonna fucking miss it, that I'm gonna have to avoid social media. I'm not gonna be able to go on Twitter or nothing But yeah, those were just some of my thoughts about this episode, you guys. I love doing these chat videos because it gives me time to put together cohesive thoughts and get them out rather than just the instant first thoughts during a reaction. First thoughts during a reaction are fucking hard, right? Especially with this goddamn show. You're trying to see through the haze of tears. You know what I mean? Your hands are fucking sweating from stress. Trying to get the words out, they're not coming. But yeah, that is it for this week, you guys. Leave your thoughts down below. 2 more episodes left. We still got 2, and next week's one is gonna hurt. The fact that I'm excited for that says an awful lot, really. I just can't get over the casting for this show. There hasn't been one character that I feel was, or a portrayal of a character that I feel was lacking or that I feel was not great. The casting director for this, no, I know I say a lot like, oh, give them the awards, but seriously, the casting director for this nailed it. I don't know what kind of fucking magic pill this casting director was on to get it spot on with every goddamn character, but oh my god. But yeah, that's it for this week, you guys. I'm going to shut the fuck up now because I've been rambling for half an hour. I have my dinner on downstairs. It's so burnt at this stage, I've actually given up. I've accepted it. I'm like, yeah, it's going to be charred and cremated. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll talk to you all soon.